right, and welcome to our session on extending Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central with Boyer Connect. My name is Eric Vigasa. I'm a pre-sales engineer here at Boyer. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. So our agenda today is really a quick overview of Business Central, just in case some of you aren't familiar or this is the first time seeing it, just kind of show a brief user interface of Business Central. What we really want to talk about today, though, are Business Central extensions, what they are and how we can use them. And specifically, we want to show you a couple extensions we have here called Advanced CRM and Project Management. So what is an extension? An extension is an app that can add functionality to Business Central. So again, these apps are called extensions because they extend Business Central functionality. And one thing I just want to show here is even when you look at Core Business Central, Microsoft has extensions in Core Business Central to, again, add functionality in. You can look at this list here that I have some sample ones here. And towards the middle, we've got a Shopify connector. So that was functionality Microsoft added about a year and a half ago. Same with statistical accounts. So again, right about in the middle there, you can see that one listed as an extension. Again, functionality Microsoft added or extended into Business Central. So we don't want to be scared of extensions. There's good extensions. There are definitely some extensions that we might want to do some due diligence on, but they are all kind of built into the core code of Microsoft or Business Central, and again, really just gives you additional functionality. So let's go ahead and hop into the demonstration. So I'm going to pop open Business Central. So again, for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with Business Central, this is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. I am sitting in my Cronus USA company, and again, it's totally cloud-based. I am running it through my web browser here. Couple of navigation things on here based on your role, and I'm actually going to switch my role here in a second so you'll see how this page changes. But based on the role, I've got my different user navigations here. So if I click on finance, I've got all my pages related to finance, cash management, sales. So I've got quotes, orders, invoices. Same with purchasing, vendors, quotes, orders, invoices. Business Central is very feature rich. So there's jobs modules, there's manufacturing, there's service management modules. We won't really focus on any of those, but again, a lot of functionality here. Also with my homepage, I'm set up here as a business manager, so I'm really concerned with cash in, cash out. So you can just see some of the navigations I have here where we're looking at our activities for the month. I can look at my uncollected AR. I can look at our past due AP. I can click onto any of these and actually see the details behind here. When I get into a list view like this, I can do multiple things here. I can search, I can sort, I can filter, and then all these pages are going to have this little icon here where I can get this data to Excel. I can actually edit this data in Excel, or I can share information via Teams. So again, a lot of good connectivity between the other Microsoft 365 products. So let's go ahead and jump into our advanced CRM. So I'm just going to click on the little gear icon, go into my settings, and I'm going to switch this over to be a sales manager role. So what you're going to see now with this home page is everything's going to change. My role has changed within the organization. So instead of worrying about open AR, open AP, I'm worried about opportunities and leads. So this pops open now my page here. So I can look at the different layouts here. So again, things are related more around just sales documents. I can have some purchase documents if they're related to my leads, but here's the main things I want to focus on here, my leads and opportunities. The dashboard here as well, you can see, is giving me a lot of different information as well. So I've got a view into my pipeline, as well as any of my open activities or open tasks that I have. So I can click on my task list here, and our advanced CRM is actually letting me track things that I need to get done. So I've actually got a couple of overdue tasks here, but I need to send out some emails. I need to make some phone calls. I've got the different contacts and prospects that I'm working with here. If I come into my opportunity contacts, so this is one of the new things we did here is we are able to set up leads and opportunities based off of contacts, and they don't have to be customers in the system. They certainly can be if you have any kind of reoccurring activity, but this is just a way for me to really be able to track these opportunities against my user account here. So I've got some opportunities in here. I'm able to have different kinds of interest levels. I can categorize some of these opportunities as well. And again, when I'm in a list view here, I can change the sort. Maybe I want to see the top opportunities, my estimated close dates. I could set up filtering options on here. Maybe I want to filter to a specific customer or specific prospect. And then, like I showed on the other page, same options here. If I need to make any um, outputs to Excel or I want to share an opportunity through Teams, I've got that ability to do that here. So if I just go ahead and go into one of my opportunities, just show you some of the different information I've got here. So I've got my contact information. I've got a description on what this opportunity is. I can set up a estimated dollar amount. I can have checklists in here as well. So if I want to be able to follow my sales process, maybe I've got um, a qualification call, and then I want to pull a pre-sales engineer on to help with some discovery. We want to move on to a demo. I can have all those checklist items here. I can also attach documents in here as well. So if we've already sent them a proposal or a statement of work or a master service agreement, I want to put all those attachments in here, I'm able to do that. You can also see in here that once they accept and close the opportunity, I can transfer them into a customer if they don't already exist as a customer. And then I'm also able to set up my tasks here. So this is where I can schedule additional tasks. So again, maybe I need to do an email, or maybe I need to just prep for a call. I can put that information in here. I can categorize my tasks, set up when that task is due. And then I can also have a follow-up task automatically piggyback off of that. So if I want to remind myself a week later that after we had that phone call, I want to follow up with an email, I can set all that information up in there. I can actually start this task. I can mark it as complete, so I can have kind of a status of or a timeline of all my touch points I've had. And then I've got this big text box I can have in here to really put a lot of details into what are we needing to do, any kind of notes I have on the opportunity, and getting this all information we can share across the organization as we have multiple people working on here. So here's where you can actually see an example of my timeline. Just kind of scroll through another one here to see if I've got some additional steps that I have. So here's one where you can see I've had a phone call going out. I assigned a primary contact person, and I created the opportunity. So I get really a nice historical view of everything that we did. So even if I lose this and I want to mark this as lost, I can put a description in as why did we lose this? What happened? What can we do to get better? Another thing we have is estimates. So if I go into my estimates here, you can see I've got a couple of estimates. So I'm able to set up an estimate. This sits outside of the quote system in Business Central. So this is really a separate type of transaction that we're able to set up for my prospect. So again, I can have different information on here, can have which customer is this for, able to have my line items in here. This is very similar to any kind of order entry screen in Business Central, whether there's a sales quote, purchase order, purchase invoice, sales invoice, but I am able to have different types of items or lines on these. So I could book directly to a GL account if I wanted to. I could put resources on this. Maybe we are a service-based organization. We're not selling furniture, we're selling time. I could put those resources on there. I'd be able to email this estimate out, or I could print it out if they actually need a hard copy or something. Most times we would email that out. If we win it, I can convert this over to an order, so it automatically creates that transaction. So we're able to bill out our time or our materials, or I can mark it as lost again. And if I do mark it as lost again, I can have categories as to why we lost this deal and be able to kind of track and again try to learn. Maybe our marketing targets aren't correct. Maybe we're losing to competition for various reasons, X, Y, and Z reasons. Able to track some of that information so we can try to get better at closing some of our opportunities. And the last thing I just want to show, again, there's a lot more in here. Just kind of want to show you high level what some of this can do, but I can go into my dashboard here. And this dashboard for me personally is going to kind of give me a snapshot of everything I'm working on, my status year to date on here. So you can actually see I've got some sales numbers in here. I've got my quota. I'm not coming close to my quota, and we're just about done with the month here. So I got to hope one of these closes here soon. I can actually drill down into my year-to-date sales and see everything that I've sold, all my line items here. And again, I can keep drilling back. So if I want to go look at a specific document, I can drill all the way back into that original invoice, maybe I need to resend this out to the customer, or I need to reference back to it for some historical reasons, but I'm able to see that original document there. Then here's my pipeline. So I've got all my different opportunities. Again, I can drill back on any of these as well. And then I've got some dashboards in here. So I can actually see the different kind of categories or product types that we're selling. This list is completely definable by you. So you set up what type of sales categories are important to you, and we can track against that. So I can make sure that I'm hitting my goals. Maybe my goals are certain areas I got to be selling these products. Then I've got some other little charts in here as well. If I can kind of keep scrolling down, you can see my open sales or my open tasks here. If I had any recent posted invoices, I'd be able to see them in here as well. Any reasons why I lost a certain opportunity or certain deal, how quickly are we converting? So again, you can just see we got a lot of information available for us to consume, digest, and again, help us make some better decisions. So let's say we won an opportunity and now we actually want to go and create that as a project. As a sales rep, I'm probably not going to do that, but I'm going to put a different hat on, and I'm going to now switch over to be my project manager role. I'm going to go back into my settings here. I'm going to change this dashboard to be a project manager, say okay, and sign in here. So now you're going to see my Business Central homepage is going to change to be everything project related. So now all of my shortcuts up here are related to projects. I can see all my different open tasks here. I've got a red task popping up that's showing me I've got something past due. But if I pop into my projects here, and just a real quick disclaimer. So Business Central does have a jobs module. This is our extension that displaces the jobs module. So it is not built on Business Central jobs. This is a whole separate really module within the system. But if I go ahead and click into one of my projects here, you can see I've got my header information, who's PMing it. I can have different statuses on here. We're able to track our percent complete. I can have different phases and tasks underneath those phases. And again, I've got some dates driving to these tasks. Just move between task to task. These now do not show up as red because these dates haven't been passed yet. So I actually think my user date probably is back in time a little bit here. Yeah, so my work date here is set at September 12th. That's why these tasks due at the 19th aren't showing as past due yet. I'm able to set up a project team as well, so I can have multiple team members in here, assign different roles to them. I can have email addresses in here, so if I do assign them to a certain task, so maybe these Visio documents, I want to have Ben go ahead and create those. I am able to send an email now to letting Ben know, hey, you've just been assigned a task on this project, so you're aware that that's going to happen. I actually don't have my email set up here, but I'll just go ahead and click off of that. Again, that would then feed into Ben's homepage for that task listing. I've got some actual hours behind the scenes here. So if I drill back on these actual hours, you can actually see that Jeff is our PM on here. So he has processed some time against this, this project. I can see those hours. I can actually see that they have been added to an invoice, and I can see the invoice that they are residing on. So it's very possible that we would have some time here that's not billed yet. So as we accrue and accumulate that time, we're then able to build that time through. So let's look at what that time entry looks like. So if I come back here, I've got a couple of timesheets. So I'll just go ahead and go into my timesheets here. Take this current one here. So here's where I can now record some time against my different projects, and I can split to different projects. You know, maybe I'm working on different things throughout the week. So I can record a job 50. I can see my different phases on here. Maybe this was for phase 100. I did some additional discovery on here. The date for this one was, I'll do that on the 20th. Maybe this one was earlier in the week on the 18th, and I did 4 hours on there. So I'm able to build all this up. I'm able to then submit this timesheet, and I can have approvals on here. So if we need to have a PM or a manager approve it, we certainly are able to do that. I don't have approval set up, so as soon as I submit that, what we'll see on project 80 is we'll see these 5 hours come in as unbilled to task 102. So I'll go ahead and submit that, say yes. I do have the ability to archive any completed timesheets if I wanted to move them off of this list. But now if I go back into that project, if we look at project 80, you can see now I've got 12 hours on this analyze phase. There's that task 102 for Eric. Scroll over, we can see those hours are showing up as not billed. So these are now ready to go through onto an invoice. Again, as we keep working, we have the ability then to create our invoices. So we could do this weekly, we could do it daily, maybe it's monthly, maybe it's based off of phases. We've got options as to when that's going to get sent out. We've also got options down here on the billing is how detailed do we want our billing? So some projects, we might need to have a lot of time details on there. They might be looking very closely at what are we spending our time on. So we do have options as to how are we going to record time and how are we going to bill our time out. So do I want to use a project rate? Do I actually want to use my resource rate? Or do I want to start with the project, but if I override it on a specific task with a resource, I can have that rate now be what overrides it. So we can have, we've got some offshore work. We want to have that be a lower rate. We can certainly do that. We've got a senior consultant on a project. They bill out at a higher rate than the standard project. We're able to do that. So we're able to set up some of those rates on the system. And then if I've got any documents tied to transactions here, I can actually go and look at those tied documents. So I am able to have purchasing documents linked onto a project. So if we have any expenses, maybe we've got some subcontractors, maybe we actually had to pull materials in for a project, I'm able to bring those on. So what we actually do here is we create this as a dimension. So if we look at this job 80 and I go do a new purchase order, I'll actually just do a purchase invoice. And I think I've actually got an existing one here. I'll just come selecting into. So I've got my purchase invoice. Again, I can do items, GL accounts, what have you, core business functionality here. But if we come over here to the right, this is where I've actually got it now linked to that project. So I would be able to link this to a specific project, a phase, and a task number. And again, this will, because we're treating project as a dimension, and we actually auto create those dimensions as you create new projects, I'm able to get this information captured on the purchasing side. This will roll over and link to my job, and it'll be linked in the GL because it is a dimension. So I can do cost reporting. I can get a better look at our profitability on projects because I can associate these expenses with those projects. You just go back and peek at our job then. One last thing I just want to show you here on the projects is we do have the ability to have a Gantt chart on here. So if we want to send this out to our customer as to these are how we think the project's going to flow, we're able to create that Gantt chart. As well as, again, any kind of visualizations here as to what's hit the GL, some accounting information. So again, just a lot of information related to this project. The last thing I want to show are actually our dashboards as well here. So if I come into our dashboards, I've got a lot of information on here. So I'm able to have a couple of things. I can set up some general KPIs where I've got some goals in my actuals. So I can actually see my revenue is trailing behind quite a bit. We got to get our sales rep, Eric, going on his quotas here. But I can quickly see how are we progressing month over month. I've got the ability to do some balance checks here. So I can actually see my sub ledgers for the most part are tying out really well, but I've got an AR issue. So I got to go and research that. But this lets me stay ahead of these issues. So I can see it the week that it happens versus needing to go back through 3, 5, 7 years of data to try to find how the heck did we get out of balance. So this is giving me a much quicker flag as to if we've got an issue or not in our system. Then I've got some report summarizations here as well. These are functioning like standard Business Central reports. If I want to do any kind of drill downs on here, I've got the ability to not drill down on formula, but I can drill down on actuals. I'd be able to see the accounts making up that amount. I can drill down on the net change. Now I see the detailed transactions. I'm in one of those list views. I can search, sort, filter. I want this data in Excel. I can dump that data out to Excel. I've also got the ability to have just a couple of kind of core financial reports that I use quite a bit in the system here. So I want my balance sheet always up and ready and available, and I want an income statement as well to look at. I can set up and define which of these two reports I want to have be my default. So that decision is up to you. Then I've also got some other visualizations here on like my accounts payable. So if I click on that, I want to have an aging report. I'll get a graph showing us how our aging buckets look. I can see a quick summary of our different vendors and the balances owed. And if I come down here, I can actually see it by aging bucket. And I can drill into any of these. So if I want to look at this $36,000, that's higher than what we want, I can get this view here so I can actually now see all those invoices making up that amount. Other graphs in here as well. I've got an inventory grid. If I look at a sales grid, I don't have a lot of sales data in here, which is part of the reason why my goal revenue is sliding. But you'd be able to see all these kind of different views and trends as to how our sales are looking. So again, just trying to get you a lot of information at your finger points. This is something that's very, very similar to Power BI as well, if you're kind of used to Microsoft Power BI, but these are now actually embedded right into Business Central. So I don't have to flip over to Power BI. I don't have to look at my information that way. These are constantly getting refreshed as I pull and open up these reports. So again, just a way to get at data, visualize that data, and really help me make a better decision for my organization. So with that, just wanted to thank you for attending. I do have some links here if you are interested in some additional information, either about Boyer or about Business Central as well as an email address to send out to contact us if you have any questions. We are more than happy to help answer questions. Again, this was very high level, just kind of want to give you an idea of what extensions can do, but we're more than happy to talk if you have any kind of specific requests, specific questions. We really just would like to help educate people on what Business Central is, how Business Central can help your organization, and specifically how extensions can help, again, extend Business Central to make it a more functional utility for you. So again, thank you for your time. Hope this was beneficial, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.